Hey guys, Crusader Kings, right? So, Crusader Kings was awesome. Once upon a time, 2.5 years ago or something like that, I played a little bit of it, and I played as England, and I ran on a crusade and took some of Jerusalem and stuff, and united all of the archipelagos like a man. And I was like, okay, I kind of get it. And then I never played it again for 2 years or something. My take on it was really fun to learn, and I loved every time I watched a movie from then on that had to do with the feudal time period, you know, like dukes and duchesses and counts and so on and so forth. I was like, man, I know what that means now. I'm such a genius. Crusader Kings has taught me the way of the world. And it was cool. It was educational. But like I learned it and then I was done. And same with CK2. I learned it and then I was done. And then EU3, I learned it and then I was done. And then EU4 came out and I learned it and then I played it 8 billion times after I'd already learned every single detail of it. And so I kind of feel like maybe I missed out on something by just playing the first few games through, like, to beat them and then be like, okay, I've beaten that game and I will move on with my life. So I'm coming back to CK2 after much time away. In an attempt to just kind of see if it can be fun as a, you know, replayable, repeatable sort of game. So in my research ahead of time on this, I've learned from reading lots of other people's opinions on CK2 versus CK2 versus EU4 that it's a really easy game. The AI is pretty bad compared to EU4. But what can be fun is kind of the start. You know, like it's you got like a 4 billion year time period. You go from 768 to 1337. You got like a 600 year span during which you can do whatever you want. But if you play for all 600 years, you're going to win. I mean, you're going to take over every single province in the entire world because the challenge of CK2 isn't so much like, oh no, you could die or you could lose. It's more of like, you're just supposed to enjoy fighting stuff and the story of the characters and you know, that kind, you know, fabricating claims and immersing yourself in the role play and the history of it and whatever. So with that said, I'm going to start small. I'm going to be a single province miner, which is a term that comes from EU4. I'm just going to be a count of a single Trondelag. Trondelag shall be me. I shall be Trondelag and will be Iron Men of Iron. And we're going to play at the CK2 Charlemagne start period. And we're going to be some cute little Viking raiders. So you can see Norseman. I've already Norsemaned it up. So let's Norseman it up some more. Norseman it up. Right? Norseman it up. I've never played an Iron Man game with CK2, by the way. I'm hoping that I get like an achievement for opening the game and then an achievement for like breathing in and then breathing out again afterwards. So I have played a little bit of Norseman in preparation because I didn't just want to come make a video like, how do you open the game? So I played some Venice and I played some of the default start Norseman. He's like, I don't know. I guess in this time period they don't have the same stuff, but like there's a Norse invasion of England, and I played those dudes a little bit, and I went around raiding with Viking etudes, and it was quite fun. The reason I like playing a single province dude is because it's kind of complicated. If you start out with a guy who already owns a bunch of territory, you have to spend so much time like convincing your vassals to like you enough to give you enough troops in order to, you know, come to your full potential. So if you click this button, the realm tree, and then mouse over the 100%, it just gives you an idea of how many troops you could possibly field, and then how many of those troops are currently replenished. So the same as like in EU4. Where you might have a force limit of 40, but you only have 20 troops trained or whatever. You can see this little green bar right here says that my levy is 362 out of 362. So I have access to all the troops that I can have access to. But my vassals, I only have one vassal, and he don't like me. He don't like me. It's possible, you know what? It's possible that I don't have any ships. That could be bad. Yeah, I don't have any ships. I don't think I should play a Viking with no ships. What would the point be? I couldn't raid anyone. I'd just be wrong, man. It'd just be wrong. Maybe I can't start in the CQ in the Charlemagne time period. But it seems like such a shame to buy the Charlemagne expansion and then not play at the Charlemagne start date. Well, Vikings have their own start date for a reason. Let's play from the Viking start date, baby. Oops, cancel. Quit to menu. Okay. We're going to be Viking. So we're going to smash people's sandwiches and little, you know how like if you jump on a Koopa, then a coin pops out of its head and you get a coin? Yeah? Am I not making any sense here? That's what we're going to do. Viking Age, the age of the Viking. By the middle of the 9th century, the Norse raiders and adventurers known as the Vikings had already begun to set their indelible mark on the map of Europe, establishing realms in Russia and the British Isles, and traveling and raiding as far as the Black Sea and the Mediterranean. This is the Mediterranean in here. And you'll find that raiding the Mediterranean is super fun. Carolingian rulers, descendants of Charlemagne, ruled mighty realms in France, Germany, and Italy, while the Muslim religion was now firmly established in Spain under the Umayyads. The Byzantine emperor held on through suffering under increasing pressure from the Caliphate and the Bulgarians. I know where both of those things are because I'm awesome. West of the fractured steppes, the Magyars were poised to make their claim on the Carpathian Basin. Carpathian. I don't know what that is. Sounds kind of like Carthage, which would be like Africa. Islam was spreading rapidly in Persia under rulers such as Saffarids and had penetrated into the Indus Valley. Obviously, Indus Valley, that's totally India, man. Totally India. Further east, the Hindu dynasty was expanding. So they kind of changed. It used to just be this, where you could read that down here if you wanted. How the little piglets would grunt if they knew how the old boar suffered. Those were the prophetic words of the legendary Viking Ragnar Lodbrok as he lay dying in the snake pit of the Northumbrian kingdom, Igela. I don't know how to pronounce that A and E mixed together. That's okay. They should just use, letters. In 867, the vengeful son of, I don't know how to pronounce that letter either, and their great heathen army descended upon the petty kingdoms of Britain to make Ela the bloody eagle. So this is what I was talking about before, the start date where right here, Jorvik, where there's like a Viking incursion by King Halfdan, half of Dan. He's like Dan, but only half. He's not all of Dan. I'm not sure if you could call him even half Dan. He might only be like a fifth of Dan. Anyway, so he's considered to be relatively difficult start. That seems silly that they think that. The difficulty is basically just how strong is your realm at the very start of the game. But like I said, this game is so easy that if you start as someone who's already firmly established, you're not going to have a very good time. So always pick somebody who is not super well established. So I like the fight for Norway. It's very reminiscent of the fight for Italy in EU4, where you've got a bunch of independent nations all right next to each other, all of roughly equal strength. So in contrast, in Vicky 2, or even in any game, trying to play France against the Eastern French Empire or whatever, Lotharingian Empire in East Francia. These giant balls throwing armies against each other is not nearly as much fun, right? Because if you're a one-province miner and you're surrounded by other one-province miners, anything you do will double your strength. And then once you've doubled your strength, you can triple it easily because you don't have a truce timer with anyone. And you have 2 provinces and they only have 1. So then you're 3 provinces, and now you're vastly bigger than them, so you can go like... The whole concept of a bunch of independent realms all being next to each other just does not jive with these games. There's just no way that will ever last longer than 5 seconds. Everyone's just going to get gobbled up. Which begs the question, like, how historical a game can this be if in 769 this is what Norway looked like, and then in 867 it looked almost exactly the same. And then only later did it actually consolidate, and even then it didn't fully consolidate. This is like, what, 201 years later? Like, that's ridiculous. Like, why didn't Norway consolidate better? And then Sweden is tiny, and then the Third Crusade, they're still just kind of static. Latin Empire, Rise of the Hansa. This Rise of the Hansa start date must be tied to one of the DLCs. I bought all the DLCs when they were on sale for basically like free for all of them, but I don't know what the Rise of the Hansa start date is really tied to. Maybe the Republic. Maybe this is the start date during which there are the most republics. Yeah. Prince Mayor Heinrich of the Hansa. So this is a republic start date. You're supposed to be like, oh, look how powerful republics are at that point. When I played Venice, the republic, I played it from the old gods start date, because they already exist all the way back there. I wonder if, Venice is even a republic all the way back in Charlemagne's day. So the Venetian Republic has been around forever. Forever! Mongols. The Mongols. I've been warned, although I've never seen it, that if no matter who you play, if you play the game long enough, eventually the Mongols will come and wipe you out. And the Aztecs. Apparently, there's a totally not at all historic DLC called The Sunset Invasion that causes the Aztecs to just come wipe out everything for no apparent reason. I guess like this would all make a lot more sense if I had been playing consistently as each DLC was released, and I was like, oh, that's a nice addition to the game. Oh, that's a nice addition to the game. But it's more like looking at it out of context like this. It's like, what the heck? Why would the Aztec play any role at all in a seemingly historical simulation strategy game? Okay, so I've got this cat problem, right? Because my cat loves me, but it's so young and energetic and nocturnal that as soon as everyone goes to bed, she's like, it's now safe to come out and I can play with Ben and it'll be glorious. And I don't want to play with you right now, cat. Sorry. My son Eli, I'm trying to teach him to be nice to the cat, but he refuses to learn that lesson, and so he just torments the cat. I mean, he doesn't hurt it, but he will chase it around the house, and if he catches up to it, he'll give it a big hug. And the cat is like terrified. He's like, why would you hug me? This is crazy. So anyway, that terror that he inspires in the cat has kept me safe from the cat's not very well managed claws for quite some time, but now it is too late. I am being assaulted. Anyway, so I played a lot of Viking-ishness, but I want to play more Viking-ishness because it was so super duper fun. And I just decided I wanted to make videos of it instead of just playing it for fun without anyone noticing. Because I don't think I've ever done a CK2 video, and I wanted to give it a shot. So, anyway, this guy, Chief Trondelag, is 37. The ruler designer is just so much fun. Just picking your own nonsense. And you can use it. I mean, I feel like the ruler designer is part of what makes the game so ridiculously broken. But I find that it's nice to have your first ruler live a really long time and make you a big empire, and then see what happens as that empire gets handed off every 4 years from person to person, instead of just starting the game 4 years away from handing off your empire. You know, like if you haven't even done anything yet, it's annoying to constantly have your ruler die and have your empire be inherited over and over. So I like to use the ruler designer. I think a lot of people like the ruler designer. I'm Germanic. I don't want to be Germanic. How am I Germanic? Is this the right start date? Oh, it was the wrong start date. Yeah, you got to start late enough that ships actually exist. Although maybe not. Maybe I should start when ships don't exist. But then someone else would consolidate all of Norway and subjugate me, and then I would be someone's vassal. I have not yet. I mean, like I said, I've played Venice and this Norse guy, so I have not yet successfully been someone's vassal and then stopped being someone's vassal. I know you're supposed to like form a faction for independence and build support by bribing people and conquering territory and granting the titles to people who can help you to secure independence, and then hiring a big retinue and lots of mercenaries and getting enough money to those mercenaries can run at a deficit for a long time and then declare independence and fight a war and win. I know the general concept, but I've never done it, and I don't want to. I feel like if I don't have ships, I won't be able to get the money I need to stay independent as a Norseman. So yeah, let's do this. Old God start date, Trondelag. Let's move. Okay, ruler designer. And I like to set my flag to just be 11111 because then it's easy to see what's mine. It's the thing that's totally yellow. That's the only purpose of flags, in my opinion, is to be able to pick it out of a crowd. So why be tricksy? Just make it yellow. And then we're going to go for... So education. You see the dots next to each education level? The golden education, right? There's indulgent wastrel. This is like a guy who wants to focus on having a large domain and getting lots of money from it, but he sucks at it, right? He's a level 1 gold. This guy, a thrifty clerk, he's a level 2 gold, right? He's got improved fertility, +3 stewardship, and -1 diplomacy, right? And this guy, the fortune builder, and the final level 4 of the gold education is -touch, so you got level 4 stewardship. Then there's Grey Eminence, level 4 diplomacy, right? That means you're a diplomat. All of your vassals will love you, and so you can get the most from the realm that you have, rather than having as large of a realm as possible. Elusive Shadow, you're good at not being assassinated and at assassinating other people. So this can be good for people who like the feudal system, like especially playing as Venice. One of the only ways to become the Great Doge of Venice is to assassinate everyone else who wanted to do it. So it can be good to start off as an Elusive Shadow in Venice. I'm going to grow my realm. I talked before about how nice it is to have one province and then turn that into 2 and then turn that into 3 and then turn that into 4, and that's really fun. So I'm going to go for a -touched mother. But we got the Brilliant Strategist, +9 martial, right? So a martial focused. And then the final one is the Theologian focus. This is +9 learning, so you can get a big tech advantage. I've never done much with learning. The concept of learning is that over time, if you keep high learning kings throughout, for a long time, you'll get ahead of your neighbors in tech, and then you can crush them with your tech advantage. And that seems like something that you would do that would be super beneficial to somebody who'd played a million campaigns before and knew they were going to stick with this for 400 years. It seems like it's not going to pay off within the time period that I'm going to actually focus on, which is going to be the first, 60 or 80 years. Since I haven't played very much CK2, I want to focus on something that's going to immediately pay off, which is the Grey Eminence and -touched are the two, but -touched definitely is the one I'm going for. So I'm going to be a level 4 gold dude, level 4 Goldman Sachs, and you notice that there's a cost with the education type, and it's 15. This is 15 years. So you start off as a 16-year-old. If you become a level 4 educated 16-year-old, you suddenly become a 31-year-old. So we need to take some of those years back by giving me negative traits, right? So you can go with stressed and wounded. Wounded is great because it gives you scarred, and scarred is actually a good thing. So if you start the game wounded, you will recover and become scarred, and that's awesome. So now I'm back to being 16 years old. You can be a drunkard or a kinslayer or a homosexual or a legitimized bastard. I kind of want to be a legitimized bastard. You gain 1 year for -1 diplomacy, but I don't really care about my diplomacy. As Norseman, your vassals just won't like you until you've been ruling for 15 years. And by the time you've been ruling the empire for 15 years, you have so much prestige that they're going to like you whether you got minus diplomacy or not. Then I'm going to go for... I could be sexy. Notice how the top traits, red hearts, these are inheritable... no, these are things that have to do with health. Red equals health, right? Negative health. Then you got these blue shields, the kinslayer and homosexual. I don't know how those are related. I guess killing your brother is very similar to being homosexual. I don't know why. Remember, during the time period of 769, being homosexual is very bad, I think. Oh, no, actually, it's considered a good thing. Because your vassals will hate you, and you will be very unlikely to bear children. But other men who are also homosexual can find you attractive, and having a plus relation with a male person who might own territory can be considered a very good thing. So it actually costs 2 years to become homosexual. That's funny. Club-footed, hair lip. All of these are genetic conditions that are negative. Except stutter, again, considered a positive trait, even though it's bad. I would not want to have a stutter in the real world as a ruler. It's like that movie, The King's Speech, Ugly, obviously. I've always taken ugly because I don't care if women dislike me, because I'm not a I mean, women don't own territory, so I don't give a crap what they think. And then genius. The green hearts are inheritable. So genius, quick, slow, imbecile, inbred, strong, and weak. Those are the inheritable things. So those are the things you should really focus on. Genius and quick are actually genius, quick, and slow are mutually exclusive. You can only have one of those. Actually, imbecile as well. Then strong and weak are mutually exclusive, so you got to pick either strong or weak. So you'd want to be a strong genius, because then your kids have at least a 25% chance of being strong or genius as well. And the problem is that both strong and genius, because they're so awesome, add a ton of age. You just like ridiculously age. They're very expensive, is what I'm saying. Then gluttonous is not inheritable, so it's something that you shouldn't mind taking. Because your son won't have it. What we want is to take a bunch of things that are bad about us, but that we won't hand off to our sons. We can be deceitful, and craven just means a coward. I noticed that as a Viking, you instantly lose craven as soon as you lead troops against an enemy. So you should always take craven. There's just no reason not to take craven. Arbitrary, I think you can lose that pretty quickly just by officiating at summer fairs and stuff. And I kind of like cruel, because it makes you do more damage and have more intrigue, and the more intrigue you have, the less likely you are to be assassinated by someone. So anyway, that's the general idea of the ruler designer. You got these inheritable and non-inheritable traits. Anything with a circle is not inheritable, so you can take it or not take it, and nobody cares. Anything with a heart is inheritable, so my kids might be just as ugly as I am. And these red heart things are just health things. And the legitimized bastard is, you can't change it. It's just, I'm a legitimized bastard. What's up? So then health is going to determine how long we live, right? So we can control click on health a couple of times. Now we got 7.0 health, so we're like never ever going to die. And that's important because, like I said, I want my first king to basically live forever. And then that's it. We're gonna get started. So boobs. There we go. So I'm going to end this episode here, and the next episode is going to be me actually playing, because it's been 22 minutes and I haven't even started playing. So it seems like a convenient thing to have one episode be the intro and the next episode actually be playing. So I'll be right back.